Hello Pisces and welcome back to your extended. So I didn't add this into the first part, but there's something here about how whatever this confirmation that you're providing for them, it seems to be that it is this confirmation. It's like it's on all fronts, it's on all levels. It's like you're like a walking what it's coming through is like you're like a walking confirmation for them. So what it's talking about is like, all the things that you're designing the home with, you're putting your efforts in. There's something in the items that you're putting up. I'm specifically getting like paintings or artwork that you're putting on the wall. It's like artwork that you're putting on the wall is providing a physical confirmation for something in this emperor's life. And it's coming through as like do you see how these two, like both of their framework, if you will, both of their framework is very similar. I'm looking at the framework of your reading. So what that's referring to is like your framework being very similar to their framework. So it's kind of like, I want to say with your like mothiness, it's like how they feel. Like you can feel how they're feeling. The moth can kind of also, especially because it comes through with that like a little supernatural. It refers to, it can sometimes refer to like a psychic connection, if you will, almost like empathy. So it's like you're feeling what they're feeling. And now with the moth, though, it might not necessarily be something that you are fully conscious of. Or at least maybe that's how it might have started. It might have started as something that you're not really fully conscious of, but there's some type of connection. And what it's referring to is like, kind of like you wouldn't be able to deliver this confirmation for them unless you guys were like psychically connected, something along those lines. It's like you're in the same channel, you're in the same framework. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you're receiving the same messages type of thing. And so it's telling me it's kind of like a back and forth. It's like you're providing, in some ways, in most ways, it seems like you are the one that is providing confirmation for them. But there's things that they are doing too, as well, that is kind of like supporting your movements in this way, supporting your movements as the architect. And so it's like it's building. So the more that you provide this confirmation for them, the more that you design the house, you put things in there, you know what I mean? You create a very comfortable space for them to reside in. It's like they're going to reciprocate that energy back to you. It might be in a different way because they are the emperor, so it's like it might be in a way that is more like grounded in this reality. Like it could be actually, because what I'm thinking of is like if you're putting decorations in, it could be like you're providing them confirmation, right? And then they're supporting it. It could actually be like supporting it financially, like giving you money to like go and buy more things to help to bring the space up. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we're starting the second portion of your reading off with the star. I love this second part of your reading. So it's great because both star cards came out, and it's both you. Like this is all you. So you're kind of, it's like you're that's what this is. Hang on. Oh goodness, my cards are everywhere. Okay, so it's like you are, with both of the star cards coming at the end of your at the end and the beginning of your reading, it's giving me a message of, you see how this, like that, this effect here, the butterfly here, it's like you're kind of surrounding. It's like you're surrounding the space. It's really beautiful. You're surrounding this home, the Emperor's home, with a gorgeous healing energy. It's healing, it's comfort, it's relaxation, it's also beauty. You know, especially if we're talking about like the interior design, it's like when you walk into the house, it's beautiful. It's like that's the energy that you are creating for this space. It feels really serene, very relaxing. There's a lot of harmony in the home. It's like everything, it's like you can tell that all of the elements are put in specific places and locations that, I don't know, it's like whatever you're doing in this house is so this might actually be a confirmation for you too, is that what you are doing in the house is working, because it seems like, you know, you're doing all of this stuff, and there's kind of like with this, so we have the star, right? And then we've got the Selkie. And what it's referring to is kind of like, it's giving me a message of like the flip side. The flip side to this star energy is the Selkie. It's kind of like the dark side of the moon. It's like you can't actually see the other side, the dark side, if you will. Hang on one second, there's something in there. Because you can't actually see the other side, or the dark side of the moon, right? The opposite, or the flip side of this star energy, it's like it's as if you don't necessarily know if what you're doing. There's a moth. That's crazy. No, it's not. It's a wasp. It's a wasp. That's what this is. It's like you don't yet know if what you're doing is providing the right energy. So it's like a confirmation, like is like, especially with that wasp that's coming up, it's kind of like, is that's interesting. There is a little dark side to this. Hang on a second. I'm trying to feel into it. It's kind of like with the moth. You don't really, like the moth energy, it can be very comforting, you know, like a place where you can kind of rest. But it does also have a little bit of, well, it's kind of got that paranormal aspect to it. Hang on, like hit a little hiccup. I'm trying to like pull it in. What is this? it's kind of like the other side. I want to say that when you are providing this, when you're being the architect and you are providing, you know, comfort, all of those things, you're doing the healing, right? The space. It looks like the star. But then there's something else that happens. It's like there's another side. There's another side of this. The other side of it is the Selkie. Okay, hang on. The Selkie talks about, it's kind of like if you get too close or something. I don't know. It could appear as like, it's like, I'm getting really hot. I don't know, like a monster or something like that. Like it's the Selkie. I'm seeing, it's like, okay, let's refer to this as like sirens. It's like you've created this beautiful space, right? They're coming in, they're comfortable. You're like a siren, right? You're sitting on the edge of this cliff, right? And then they come into the space, you've sung them in, right? You've created the space. And then it's like there's a flip, there's a changeover. That's what the butterfly to the moth is. There's a changeover that can kind of look a little bit scary. Because it's like the ones who get called in by the siren, like they think that it's gorgeous, right? Until something happens, until like something happens. There's something that's happening. Because we've got the five of swords next. There's something that's flipping. And it has to do, it's like it's going too far. Hang on a second. It's like your mothy element kind of being able to provide confirmation. It's kind of freaking them out. That's what this is. If this is a person who is not really into the esoteric, not really into kind of all of the metaphysical, the spiritual, that type of stuff, it's like you're flooding the space, right? You're flooding the space with your energy. It appears wonderful, gorgeous at the beginning, right? Like the butterfly. And then there's a flip or a transition where it kind of becomes overwhelming. That's what it is. It's becoming overwhelming for this emperor. It's like they're seeing, well, they're definitely, their eyes are being opened, they're being illuminated, right? It's like they're seeing all the things that are inside of them being reflected back at them, and they're not used to that. They're not used to that at all. It's causing them to go into a Five of Swords, which is very interesting because it also seems like that's kind of, it's like it's purposeful, because when they're in that Five of Swords, they're in the perfect position to receive the healing that you have to offer. You see how like their position is similar to yours. It's like these could be the same cards. It's just this one is in the Five of Swords and this one is in the healing. So it's almost like when that flip happens, when it kind of gets a little overwhelming for them, a little like nerve-wracking or a little scary, because you're moving into the moth energy. It's kind of got like a like when the spirits start to arrive, kind of like that type of thing. Like when you start getting confirmation for others, that like if you're playing on the other side of the veil, it's like they're cool, like they're fine, everything's cool, you know, like you're providing a lot of confirmation for them, and then it kind of gets a little freaky. It kind of gets a little like, ooh, you know? And it's like that space right there where they get a little freaked out is the perfect spot for them to receive the healing of whatever that is. It's like you're helping to release them of their fear of that realm. That's interesting. Of the Selkie realm, of the water realm. Selkies they live in the water. And it's also got kind of like a mermaid element to it as well. So it's kind of talking about like the creatures, if you will, of the other side. You're helping to alleviate their fear of that. The creatures that exist on the other side of the veil. Something along those lines. Because when they are in fear of this, when they're in fear of this other side, it's like it splits their energy up. And they don't feel, it's like they don't feel whole. And that's what they feel, well, like the Emperor, like disconnected. So your efforts are to kind of reconnect them. You're trying to reconnect them. Now this could all be definitely under the surface. It's like it's not one that is this is not an emperor that's kind of coming to you asking for guidance and all of that stuff and asking to, you know, go on kind of like a journey into the other side. This is this is just, it's showing up for them. Or well, it's kind of like they're just finding themselves in that environment all of a sudden. But the perfect part is that you're there. You're there to kind of help to bring them back into their it's like you're helping to bring them back into their original state, if you will. Because they're presenting here as the Five of Swords, but then they do actually quickly move into the King of Wands, which is, you know, it's just another representation of this Emperor here. So it's like they're quickly kind of like getting over that hump. They're getting over, right, that hump. The last step, if you will. And that's very interesting, because if you were to, it's like once they get over the fear, it's like a fear threshold for them with this moth energy. It's very psychic, very like other side of the veil type of stuff. So it's like if they get over this hump, right, they're going to be at the 10. See, because this has got 9, he's got a wand here, so they'd be at the 10 of wands, which talks about releasing burdens. So it's like they're releasing the fear that they have connected with this kind of transition, between, I want to say that like this would be like the butterfly energy, something really gorgeous, beautiful, you know, and then we have the moth here, which is something definitely very different. Definitely like a creature that lives beyond the veil type of thing. And then it's like they're dropping all of that fear. What's very interesting here is that you're presented here as, you know, being kind of covered down here. Hopefully you can see that. And then it's like you're also, that's so interesting. They're following your example. Because you have dropped it's like you're dropping your fear of this. That's what I'm saying. There's like a reciprocation to the dynamic between you two. So it's like as things kind of get rolling and you start receiving, you know, the confirmation, synchronicities, and then we start to get a little deeper into the esoteric, and you know, things start to really show themselves to you. Both of you are starting to get a little bit more enlightened about what's actually going on here. It's like there is kind of a little fear that kicks up within you too, but it's like as you drop it, as you drop your fear, it's like they're following your example. They're following your example. And then it's beautiful. And then you move into this star energy, which is gorgeous because it comes out below the Hierophant here, which is talking about the confirmation. So what it's referring to is like you're claiming this ability of yours, this ability that you have to be able to provide confirmation for other people, for especially for this emperor. It's like you're now understanding your role as a healer, as someone who can provide confirmation, as someone who can help to release other people's fears of kind of like the dark side. That's what it's referring to. Releasing people's fears of the dark side. That's interesting. All right, Pisces. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.